Hello everyone and welcome to the Cricket Corner. It's the 18th of June. Is that right? It's the 18th of June? July. And how quickly it's already flown by. This is our 5th episode. Is that right?
Yeah. Fifth,
wow.
Yeah.
We've done 4. It's been over a month and we've got a lot of good response from people. We're very excited about some special guests that will be coming on the podcast very soon. But welcome to the podcast. This is the first one we're doing where we're recording it. So if you see some clips on the internet, this is Sohail and this is Arun. And Arun, you look really tanned. Do you want to tell us why we had a 2-week break in between doing the podcast? What's going on?
Yeah, I just had a quick break. Went to Malta, for holidays. Good weather. Was really hot. So yeah, good break.
40 degrees?
It felt like 40, yeah. Yeah, it felt like 40. Just came back yesterday and ready to talk about cricket.
Did you do any cricket whilst you were in Malta?
Yeah, so I went with the French team. So they had a tournament there. So I went with them. They won. We had 2 tournaments. They won one of the tournament, and the second one they finished 3rd out of 5.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
All because of you. On the sidelines. Can we find videos of you on the sidelines shouting and screaming at the team?
No. I don't shout, but it's good. They played well, but I felt they could have done better. But good results overall.
Yeah, what's the how does it work with a team like France? Because unlike the teams that we see day in, day out, they're professionals. This is their job. I guess the French team is more like they have a day job and the younger kids are in school, whatever it is, and then they come together. So they get very limited time to practice. How do you make the most of that?
Yeah, that's the challenge. Especially in a country like France, they don't have all the infrastructure that we can find in the UK, for example. So, so that's a challenge. We try to train them as much as we can. So there are people locally who are working with them. And, we just trying, I on my side, just trying to pass on my experience and, try to guide them.
Yeah.
But they today with the television, they can see a lot of matches, and there's more cricket in Europe now, so they can play a lot of matches. So, yeah, I can only see them progressing.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so much that we've seen with a lot of the upcoming nations. So hopefully, France, with the help of you, can get better and finish higher up, right? So that's a little bit of an intro on Arun's holiday. He said he went on a holiday, but actually, you were coaching the team. Let's talk about some cricket that's going on. There's so much cricket to talk about. Like we always say, there's always cricket to talk about. We're going to try and keep the test cricket towards the back end of the podcast. So do you want to really cover off what's the results that have happened, the test cricket, so everything outside of, obviously, the Ashes? What else has been going on?
India is on tour in West Indies for a 2 test series. Pakistan, they are in Sri Lanka at the moment for a 2 test series as well. We'll go a bit in the details the later part of the episode. A lot of cricket ongoing, especially when India and Pakistan plays. There's a lot of following Ashes.
Yeah, there is, and the Ashes as well. People in India are envy of the amount of support the Ashes gets, at least the Test cricket gets. They feel that in India, Test cricket is neglected, and then they see in the UK, the stands are full. People are chanting and swearing at the players or whatever it is, and it's the atmosphere is fantastic, and it really is a great, I guess, image for the Test cricket side of things. But there's also, before we get into the Test cricket, the Ashes have been regained by the women's. The Australian team, the women's Australian team have regained the Ashes. There's a match going on today, the one day, which if they win, they've won the Ashes. But if they lose, they've just drawn the Ashes. So that's some fantastic news. Something for the Aussie men's team to take on board when they go on to the fourth Test match, so that's really good. There's some fantastic cricket. The last one day match against the English and the Aussies was really good, a tight affair, and the crowds have been fantastic as well. Like, people have been saying that there have been so many people coming to watch the women's game, which 10 years ago was just not possible. So that's fantastic. Something else in the women's game, the good news is that the ICC have decided that they'll pay the men's World Cup and the women's World Cup the same fees, or the match-winning fees will be the same. So there's some equality there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
People are still fighting in football to get that for the women's, and it's great to see that that's going to happen for the cricket. The cricket is, I guess, the first sport to do it in like one of these bigger sports that I guess is being played by women in general. So that's really good. But talking about money, a lot of money being spent in America. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what's going on in America?
Oh yeah, the Major League Cricket. It's kind of a low budget IPL.
Everything in America is major league, but it's actually very minor.
Yeah, so they, it's for franchise cricket, T20.
But it's the same franchises that are in they're the same IPL franchises.
Yeah, they bought the teams there.
Right.
And but the rules are different. I think they are allowed to have multiple overseas player in the 11.
Yeah, because they don't have players in general. It's not like America is booming with great cricket players. So I guess that rule has to be relaxed a little bit. There's some really great players in that setup, right? Like a notable name that you might have heard of is Narain, or whatever, however people want to call him. Narain decided not to play the final stay in the Blast, the UK version of T20 League, and decided, I don't want to do the trip. I'm just going to stay in America.
Yeah, because of the money. He gets paid more. He's at the end of his career, Sunil Narain. And he's the captain of one of the franchise in the USA League. So he just left. I just hope this, brings something positive for USA cricket. They played in the World Cup qualifiers and they lost all the matches. Yeah. So hopefully this league will help them, build a stronger USA team.
Yeah, it's the experience, right?
Yeah.
It's just being around great players really builds your experience. Like, you're going to be surrounded by some fantastic players. They've got Shane Watson as the coach, and they've got Henriquez, who's not even retired, I don't think, but Henriquez is a great player, and I saw a photo of him, and he looks hench. He is so big, and he looks really grumpy in the photo that they've put out for the Major League Cricket. But they've got some fantastic names.
Yeah, they got some big names. They got all the best players in the world at the moment. So I hope, it's good for the USA cricket, and we see more and more cricket played in that part of the world.
But what's good for America is not good for the UK, and I've heard a lot of players say that the rise of the Major League Cricket, MLC, is unfortunately going to be impacting the T20 Vitality Blast cricket here in the UK quite badly.
It's going to impact world cricket overall. It's going to be, I feel it's going to become like a football model where people will have contract with the franchises.
Yeah.
And then they will come to play only the major tournament for the country.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Well, I think it's the world of today.
Yeah, it is. I am like the comparison in golf, like golf world is being made. There's a new tour called the Live Golf that's going on, which is like a rival to the PGA Tour. And a lot of people are comparing that to how when the IPL started, and people were negative about the IPL because they were like, this is going to be detrimental to Test cricket. But actually, it's elevated Test cricket, right?
Yeah.
Like, people care more about Test cricket because they just get their fun for a limited amount of time, whether it's in the IPL in India or BBL in Australia, and then boom, Test cricket is still king.
You will see, like, most of the high-paid cricketers in IPL, they have a good Test career.
Yeah.
So it's not just, they take players just based on T20.
No.
Because good players get picked and they get paid.
Yeah. So that's the MCL. That's what's ongoing. Shall we quickly switch our attention to Test cricket?
Yeah, just before we go to Test cricket, there's also a Bangladesh-Afghanistan tour. Afghanistan went to Bangladesh. They played a Test match, which they lost heavily, and then they played a T20 tournament and the ODI series as well. They did really well to win the ODI series, Afghanistan in Bangladesh, which is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of big countries went there, and it's a very
difficult.
Yeah,
it's not easy. It's not
a difficult
easy.
place to win Bangladesh. So Afghanistan did well to win the ODI series, but Bangladesh came back and won the T20 series. So these two teams will be, they'll be quite good to watch in the 50-over World Cup, I feel, especially happening in India.
Good.
Yeah.
So that's something that's happening elsewhere as well. Is there any other one-day cricket going on?
No, at the moment that's the main thing happening.
I guess it's like the period between now and the next couple of months where everyone gets their Test cricket, etc., out, and then the World Cup season starts. So then they start preparing
white
for the
ball.
Yeah. And actually, on that topic, have you heard about this thing happened with the Bangladesh cricket player who retired and then unretired within a matter of minutes?
Tamim Iqbal.
Yeah.
Yes. And he was the captain. He was the captain as well.
So what happened?
He retired. There was some miscommunication, or he wasn't happy with the way he was treated by his coach, or he was saying, I don't know, he was injured, he has a knee injury or something, and then I think the coaching staff wanted him to play, or there was some miscommunication, and it's not the first time you see player retiring in Asia and coming back.
No.
But this time he came back because the Prime Minister asked him to come back, so which is strange.
Yeah, which is how you should do it.
Yeah. I saw a picture of Modi and Dhoni, and someone put a comment saying, "Is he asking Dhoni to come back?"
I saw a tweet from Dhoni showing like hundreds of his bikes in his garage. So I don't think he's coming back anytime soon. But yeah, that was pretty interesting to see Tamim Iqbal retire and then unretire within a matter of days. It's within a day, within 24 hours. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. Shall we talk about some Test cricket?
Yeah, go
on. Shall we talk about... we've already talked about West Indies a little bit. Actually, we've talked about West Indies a lot in the last few podcast sessions we've had, and they are dying, and people on the internet can see that they're dying as a cricketing nation. And to preface this, they lost to India pretty badly.
Yeah.
It feels like the wicket was like a turner. Like, I've not seen turners like that in India.
It's like a home match.
It's like they paid so much money to West Indies, say, hey, make a pitch that is like home. But we'll get to like the actual cricket in a second. But like, West Indies cricket is dying, and there was a comment that someone put out there. It's really brutal. They said that they should just divide the West Indies into their own countries, and then just let them play as home, the same as France, and then start from the bottom and come up.
Like Jamaica,
Trinidad. Trinidad, Tobago, and they can have their own individual players and their 11 players.
I don't think that's the, that's going to change anything for West Indies.
No.
Because if all these islands combine, they can't put up a team.
Well, forget about the individual nations putting up 11 players who are even going to compete with someone like Oman.
Yeah.
It's going to be we know one player doesn't win the game, but, they're going to find it even more difficult.
Exactly.
I think it's an unfair comment, right? Because they've won. This was someone on Twitter who's an Indian who's like, they should just, they're shit. To which someone replied, they've actually won an ICT tournament.
Many times, yeah.
Many times, but more recently than India have.
Yeah.
So that tells you whatever you need to know. They can bring it together when they really need to. So it's a shame that we're seeing them in the state. And actually that you can see in the current Test team. It's lacking in power. It's lacking in runs and experience and everything, and speed, bowling speed, whatever it is. That's just lacking in general as a team. Did you notice that in the Test match?
Yeah, it's a bit sad to see West Indian cricket at this level. I don't know why they put up a turning pitch against India. And
it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bizarre. And they had some new players as well in the team. And that's why when we discussed about the Indian team selection before the tour, we discussed about why India didn't bring new players,
Because it's going to be an easy...
Yeah, it's going to be like an easy tour.
India have this weird selection policy where you have to play, which is why Virat Kohli and Sharma and Rahane have to play. Like, resting isn't something that the Indian BCCI do, basically, which is a shame, because really they should have, like, Ashwin captain it and just... He took how many wickets did he take?
12.
Wow.
Yeah.
The first player to take a father and son wicket as well, which has been in the news a lot. He took Shivnarayan Chanderpaul's
and his son
wicket, and then his son's wicket, which, just a little another fun fact, if you know Sean Paul, the singer, is that right? He goes Chanderpaul, and that's because of Shivnarayan Chanderpaul. At the beginning of his songs, he goes Chanderpaul. So that's a cricketing legend fact right there, and making into the music world. But Ashwin took 12 wickets. He found it very easy, and
they should have brought some new players, especially in the bowling department. Like someone like Umran Malik, a quick bowler. They could have given him. One
or two overs, because then the wickets are not really
just to see what he does at test level. And this is one of the perfect tour for India to test new players because of the state of West Indian cricket.
But then, do you not think it'll be embarrassing for India to lose against West Indies?
They won't lose.
Even with
the Indian A team, they won't lose. That's how strong Indian cricket is at the moment, and sadly, that's how West Indian cricket is at this moment.
Which team can the India A team beat in the current circuit?
It depends where they play. But
let's say if they're playing in India, home advantage, India A team, who can they not beat in India?
Australia, England, maybe at some extent South Africa. Apart from that, I feel
New Zealand? No.
They will beat New Zealand in India. I feel in
really?
India. Yeah. I feel they will beat New Zealand.
I think if they beat New Zealand, they can beat South Africa.
Yeah.
But the India A team can only beat, or they can't. They can only not beat
these teams. Yeah.
Australia and England.
Yeah, because if you see the bench strength, especially in the batting and also spin department, like someone like Bairstow, the leg spinner, is quite good. Chahal.
Yeah, he doesn't even get a look in.
Yeah, and
Akshar Patel, who's only a specialist in India, but bloody hell, he gets a lot of wickets. So
Umran Malik, all these guys, that's why I felt they should have even brought Sarfaraz instead of Rahane.
After we made our little comment about Sarfaraz, he had gotten 2 ducks. So take whatever you want. No, great player still, but still an average of 80. But
but this test match was just for one name, Jaiswal.
Yeah, scored a century.
170 odd.
Debut as well. His debut. What a player!
What a story!
Tell us a little bit about Jaiswal.
Jaiswal, I saw him first when he was playing for the India under-19, and then that's when I discovered this player and his story. He comes from a very poor background.
Yeah.
He used to sleep on the ground because he was homeless at some time. He used to sell pani puri on the street of Mumbai just as a side job, and then to perform day in day out in Mumbai Maidans, and then
not easy.
come all the way to India under 19, India A.
With the politics you have in Mumbai,
Exactly.
right? It's not like he's coming from a state where the cricketing legends or politics doesn't play a part. To come from Mumbai, make it all the way through the ranks, that's an incredible story.
Yeah.
And this is the magic of IPL, you know, like the fact that people get picked up and get played in front of the entire world, and they're now a household name.
He did well, like at every level.
Yeah.
Like beat under 19, Ranji Trophy, now international IPL.
Yeah.
So it's a big story, and I feel he's gonna have a better future than Shubman Gill in Test cricket.
Really?
Yeah, I can feel that.
Wow. That's big, right?
Yeah.
Because Shubman Gill is being...
Shubman is a star player, but in Test cricket, he's still finding his feet. He played already 30 Tests or something. He's averaging 30. So
well, India put faith in him.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the Test cricket team for the long run. Kohli's going to retire. Sharma's going to retire. Rahane should have retired.
And these guys will be they are the future with Ruturaj, Gaikwad as well. So these guys are the future of Indian batting. So now I was very happy to see him play, and you can see his technique was like
Solid.
Perfect for this kind of surface.
Yeah, he's played on a wicket like that in Mumbai.
All his life. And what I liked about him as well, he was still disappointed when he got out at 170 odd.
Yeah.
You know? So now good story. I just hope they give him enough chance to
I think
succeed.
they will. I think they've decided they're going to go with him. So that's great.
That's good. Good to see Captain Sharma getting 100.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can, transform this form into white ball cricket and to the World Cup for India. But he's been one of our best batsmen in Test cricket for the last few years.
Yeah.
So good to see him as well. But apart from that, easy win. I think the second Test will be the same thing unless
Agreed.
West Indies prepare quick wicket and bring some fast bowlers.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going to be any different.
No.
So that's the story for India and West Indies. Right, shall we move on to talk about Sri Lanka, Pakistan quickly? I know there's a test match going on. And also, if you're hearing noise in the background, there's a party going on outside. So we're not invited. But I'm going to steal a lot of booze. I think we can fit in. What do you think? If we just turn up outside?
Well, of course. We just fit in and talk about cricket.
Hey, yeah. So, do you want to talk about the game that's going on?
Yeah, so Pakistan is touring Sri Lanka for a 2-test series as well.
Yeah.
Day 3 at the moment. Sri Lanka scored 3-1-2 in the first innings. 100 from Dhananjay De Silva. And Pakistan, in reply, they scored 4-6-1.
At one point, Pakistan was struggling.
Yeah.
And they somehow made 400 plus runs.
They were 150 for 5.
Yeah.
And then there was a partnership between Aga and Saud Shakil, who scored 208 not out.
We talked about double hundreds and how rare they are. So there it is. That's how rare they are. It's taken a long time, but that's a fantastic comeback from Pakistan. And Sri Lanka are now batting again on day 3, finished. So 2 days, we'll see a result. Potentially Pakistan are going to win.
Yeah, Pakistan are in the
leading position, right?
The
So
they're leading by 130 now. With the bowlers they have, like Shaheen, Naseem, and also some spinners. You feel they are.
I really wanted to get Shaheen on the podcast whilst he was playing in the UK. We'll try our luck and see if he's up for. Maybe we'll have to do it in Urdu, and then you can sit on the side.
He can take my place.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Anytime. He can just do a podcast by himself, straight to the camera.
Talking about Saud Shakil, he's the first Pakistani batsman to score a 200 in Sri Lanka.
No.
Yeah.
Out of all of the people.
When you think of the names like Miandad, Yusuf Yohana, Said Anwar, Inzamam Haq, Babar Azam, like you can go through all the list, and he's the first guy. to score 200 in Sri Lanka. That's big, man.
That's a good start.
Yeah, and it's good to see as well some new players scoring runs, especially in Test format. They are heavily dependent on Babar Azam.
Yeah.
And to see these new players coming in, and Pakistan, they are still trying to find their best team, I feel, in Test cricket.
Yeah.
They are pretty settled unit in T20 and ODI. So yeah, it's good signs for Pakistan cricket. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good one. Shall we move on to the big thing?
The big thing.
The Ashes.
The Ashes.
And what was my prediction?
You always get right. I don't know.
I sent a text message as soon as England won. I saying, listen, I should really start putting money on this because
on Dream 11.
Yeah, I put 3. We've had 3 test matches. I've gotten every single one of them right. Shall we do a quick highlight recap of the Ashes? What happened?
Yeah, another great test match. This Ashes is just getting better and better. Another toss won by England, sending Australia to bat on a green wicket. And they
did well.
They unleashed the beast.
They did.
Mark Wood, he was on fire. He was just
96 miles an hour. And there's this really incredible clip that BBC have, and I don't know if you've seen this. No. It's doing the rounds on Twitter and all the social media platforms. They have a video of like the Hawkeye as you're the batsman, and they see Robinson bowling, and I was like, it said Mark Wood bowling, and they're like, oh, I was like, oh yeah, I'd leave that one, or I'd defend that one, and then they do 3 from Wood, and I cannot see the balls, and the third one hits you in the grill. In no time.
You're not the only one. I think even the Australian batsmen, they cannot see these balls. So, no, he's my favorite English cricketer at the moment.
What a great... I mean, he has injected the much-needed, Bazballism that England really need, the aggression that they need. He brings it.
Yeah.
And he brings it in... the speed of his bowling, the way his attitude. He's so relaxed and
he's
fun.
Always positive,
Yeah.
He's always positive, and it's crazy. It's good to see. You don't see, back in the days, you used to see like each team had a 90+ bowler, like Pakistan, Australia, South Africa. But nowadays it's quite rare, especially in Test cricket.
I mean, the Aussies have 85 average, 85 to 89, right? And like Stark bowls 90, but not 95. No. Wow. That was some display. That was fantastic to see.
That's serious pace. And if England didn't drop all those catches in the first innings, this would have been like a 3-day test match.
Done and dusted.
Done and dusted.
So the player of the match, by a mile.
By a mile. There were some new players in this match. So Wood, Vokes, and also Mitch Marsh. They all did really well.
Yeah.
He scored a brilliant 100 that brought Australia back into the game in the first innings.
He played like how McCullum wants England to play.
Yeah.
And fantastic innings.
He's a good player and he's having a good time in his career, He had a major role when they won the T20.
Yeah, they did. He scored the winning runs. He was man of the series. Fantastic player for Australia.
So now he's going to replace Green now in the starting 11. So it's a big thing,
Yeah. So, I think before we get on to who they might pick for the next one, what was disappointing to see from the Australians for you?
The batting. David Warner, 17th time getting out to Stuart Broad.
Labuschagne hasn't scored yet.
No, he hasn't scored yet, and it's not. I feel like he's looking for runs. Normally when you see a Labuschagne innings, he leaves a lot of balls. He take it a bit. It takes a bit of time, But in these Ashes, he's just going after the ball for some reason. It's not his natural game, I feel.
I think he's clearly lacking runs, and he's looking for it, prodding and trying to find the runs, which I know Smith, who, when he wants to score runs, just goes out, scores some quick runs, and then he's in, and then he doesn't care about scoring the runs. So, yeah, Labuschagn's clearly struggling for runs, and hopefully he can make it up. He's not going to be dropped, nowhere near one of the best in the world. But it's a shame to see that from the Aussies.
Yeah, they are heavily dependent on Khawaja and Smith.
At the moment.
Yeah, moment, yeah. So the other players need to come to the party if they want to win this fourth test and also the Ashes.
What do you think about the criticism that Bairstow's getting on his wicket keeping?
Yeah, I feel at this level, the catches he was dropping, it's pretty poor. At the same time, he brings so much with his batting, and they can't drop him as well. So it's a difficult situation for England, but he's one of their main player. And
do you think they'll drop him?
No, I don't think they'll drop him. Because he's their main player.
Yeah.
And
he scored so many runs in the last few years as well. So many centuries. I can't see them dropping him.
And he's coming from quite a big injury as well. So it will take him time to, adapt. And especially wicket keeping is not easy.
No.
And I feel they'll stick with him. And he just needs to catch the easy ones.
Yeah.
You can argue about the difficult chances, but
Root's missed two, very easy.
Very easy so, England dropped so many catches in this Ashes series, not only in this test.
No.
So that's going to be another important fact in this fourth test as well. Especially, it's going to be a decider for England.
Yeah. So the cricket is generally fantastic, except for the catching from England, which leaves a lot to be desired for English fans anyway. In terms of the upcoming match, the fourth test match, which is happening in 24 hours' time, who is going to be picked for England?
England, I saw they announced their squad already for the test. So Robinson is dropped and
Anderson is
in.
So is that because Robinson is injured? Is that the primary reason?
Yeah, I feel it's a long test series, and they don't have that much break between the tests as well. So Anderson had a nice break, and I feel he didn't do much in the first two tests. So it was kind of
he's gonna be back with a revenge or
home
something.
Ground as well.
Yeah.
And it was more. I feel he was dropped than.
He had a terrible first two test matches, so it's good to see him back.
Yeah,
it's probably going to be his final hurrah. Yeah. So let's hope he does well.
And I like this bowling combination from England. So you have Broad, Anderson, Vokes, and Wood. So which is a kind of
gives enough rest for Wood when there is required to give a rest, because they've got Moeen Ali and Root as well. Yeah. How do you feel if you're an English batsman who has gone through the entire county system and been playing at number 4 or number 3, and then in the biggest test match England play against Australia, Moeen Ali comes in? What do you say to that?
He's going to play number 3 in this.
I can't believe. How is that possible?
I feel they want to protect Harry Brook. We know Root doesn't like to bat number 3.
No.
And Harry Brook, he played number 3. Was it the second test?
Yeah.
And he was not very successful.
No.
I feel they want to protect him, and they have no choice. And it's kind of whatever they get from Ali from number 3, it's going to be a bonus.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't think they count on him to score 100.
No. But if he scores a 50.
Yeah, done. His job is done.
Job is done. Wow.
So it's not a bad move. He's a left-hander as well.
Something different.
And Ali, right? When he clicks, he can score. He can make some damage.
Yeah, the Aussie ex-Aussie players who are now retired don't make much of Ali, who back when he was playing cricket was not very good either, according to them. But I think it's a good move.
I think I like it. Yeah,
it makes sense for the type of cricket England are playing as well, unless they find a replacement all-rounder like him. It looks like they want to go with 2 all-rounders. Stokes, who is no longer classed as an all-rounder personally because he just doesn't bowl as much, right? So, during the last test match, they had this lunch session. They showed the test match that they played last time round and how Stokes bowled those overs very fast, very mean, and then went out and scored all those runs. And it was so great to see. Made English fans feel like, wow, we can do this, which they need to feel that because they're 2-1 down.
Yeah, they have to win this test match. Otherwise, it will be a boring 5th test. Just one point talking about Moeen Ali. I like these kind of cricketers who are, who can do anything for the team. Like
they can fit in anywhere. You mean?
Yes, whatever role they're assigned to, they just accept. It's a dream for a captain, to have a player like this. I think that's.
But don't you have to perform?
Yeah, he will perform with the ball anyway.
Of course.
And when you give this kind of confidence to a player, who knows? Maybe he will score in these 4 tests, and we will all say genius move.
Yeah.
So. Just a quick point.
That's very fair. Yeah. I think worth keeping in mind. Yeah. For the Australians, though, I want to talk about one player who's been mentioned before, but has not yet made the Australian cricket team for the Ashes. Nasser.
Who's that?
Nasser?
Nessa.
Nisa.
Is he in the squad or not? Because I see he's still playing county cricket.
Because there was a break, everyone else went on a holiday, and he decided to go back and play county cricket.
And score hundreds.
So what is Australia doing about him? He's not going to play this 4th test match, unfortunately, but he is red hot in terms of his form. He bowls quick, and so does Mitch Marsh and Green, but he brings an extra dimension of pace as well. And he's used to playing in the English conditions. So I'm surprised they haven't picked him and are not going to pick him.
Yeah, with their bowling combination, it's a bit difficult to fit him. But especially with the Australian top order lacking runs, he could be a good option to have, down the order. And he's a good bowler as well. He's not
No. You can't drop Mitch Marsh, though, because he just scored a century.
You can't drop Mitch Marsh. And Cummins will play, Stark will play. And in the place of Boland, Hazelwood is coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no really a place for him, unfortunately. But all he can do is just score runs and take wickets. And
hopefully,
whenever he gets opportunity,
just take
perform.
it. Yeah. Yeah, like Mitch Marsh did.
Yeah, exactly. He played just the 1 test. He scored 100, and then he's playing another one.
There you go. Yeah, easy when you can do that at that level. But it's the one disappointing thing for me is that there is a big gap between the 3rd and the 4th test match, which I guess they need because they've been playing a lot of test cricket, and it really takes a toll on your body. So we've been lacking in England, at least, like the talk about cricket has been lacking in the last week. So I'm really excited that it's starting again. The 4th test match is here. Where do you think it's going to end up?
For this one, I want England to win this test. So, it will be a 2-2, and then we can have a...
Then we are going to buy tickets to the Oval on day 3 or day 4, and then just do our podcast there.
Watch the 5th test. I hope England win this one. It's going to be, I feel they have to produce a similar pitch than
the last one.
The last one.
So you think Old Trafford's going to be similar?
Yeah, I feel that's the best pitch for England to win the match with the bowling.
Of Wood and Anderson, of course.
Yeah.
So
and the toss will be important as well. The last test match, England has been winning.
England have won all of the tosses, all of the sessions because of the weather. The weather has been with them. Although I was saying, in the last test match, if England were batting first, they would have been out for a lot quicker than Australia were. The toss has been with England, and it's going to go against them at some point. Let's see where that ends up. So you think Australia are going to lose this one?
I feel England will be pumped.
The tide has turned for you.
They will be pumped. They want to make it 2-2 and go to the final test, I know.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel as well they brought Anderson back. Because they need this kind of experience and their best bowler for the number of years to come.
You know, when you see like the last test match and you see like England playing Australia, England were just so much better. Like, don't you think that they just like look like a more confident team versus the Australians? They just looked average. We know that's not right because they're 2-1 up now still. But it just feels like something has changed since that run out. Something has changed within the English setup where they just feel more confident. And
they want to prove something.
Yeah.
And we discussed about this in our previous episodes. But overall, if you take this Ashes test, England played quite well.
Yeah, they have been close test matches. They've lost the first 2, but they have been close.
Close, and most of the time England gave the match to Australia.
Yeah.
So
well, they wanted to give the third one as well.
Yeah, it was very close as well. So I feel it's in England's hand in these conditions, in this type of pitch. If they do their basics right, I feel they will win this test match. But if they continue to drop catches or play reckless shots when situation demands otherwise, then Australia will win this. So that's what I feel for England. They just need to stick to the basics and play their cricket. They don't need to do anything fancy.
No.
They have aggressive players in the team who will play aggressively. They don't need to go to play extra aggressive or anything. Brook in the last test played a great innings and he was striking at 70 or 80. He made 75 in 90 balls.
Yeah.
So they don't need to go, they just need to play their game. And if they do their basics right, if they win the toss, and that's going to be important.
And the weather is not against them. It's looking like it might rain a few days. So they'll have to try and find a result in less than 5 full days. But yeah, I really agree with you. I think something changed in the last match. And I still don't think we've seen the best of the Aussies.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen best from some of the Aussies at some of the times during the test match, but as a whole unit, they're renowned for their team performances, and there hasn't really been a clinical display from the Australians. I'm worried this one might be the one that they clinically defeat England. I don't want them to. I want it to be 2-2, and I want it to have a fantastic 5th test match.
Big test for Captain Cummins.
He's not really had something like this happen. The last time something like this happened, they lost in the same 3rd test match. Stokes won the last wicket stand, right? So they've improved since then as well, and he's improved as a captain.
Yeah.
He has a lot of support around him.
He's been playing. He's the only bowler who's been playing since day one. So he will be physically tired.
Yeah.
Mentally tired as well.
He took the key wickets as well in the last match, though.
Yeah.
So
let's see how he does. He got a bit of criticism by some Aussies for his moves in the last test.
Yeah.
It happens always. Whenever you lose something, people will criticize you. So
it's their job. It's their job to criticize. We're not here to criticize unless it's the Indian cricket team. No. It's going to be an exciting 4th test match. We're really looking forward to it. And I think England are going to do it as well.
Yeah.
So
go England.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So this is it. I think this is the end of the podcast. Thank you for listening. If you're watching for the first time as well, I hope you enjoyed watching us talk to each other. It can be weird sometimes, but so this is Sohail and Arun. This is the 5th podcast. It's the 18th of July, not June. And go England.
Go England.